Have you ever had a genius dad who gives you a time machine as a birthday present? No? Neither have I. It sounds exciting, but this movie makes us understand why time travel is dangerous nonsense. Hey guys, this is Afraid, and you are watching Project Almanac. Let's get into it. Let's start at the beginning. This is David. David Raskin is a high school senior who is shy, introverted, and genial. He is presenting a project of his own for admission into MIT. His sister Christina is helping him with the video. Instead, Quinn and Adam are his best friends who helped him with the complex project. In simple words, David has created a drone that he can control with his hands, thanks to sensors embedded on his fingers. David, along with others, wants to challenge the drone and fly it to a height of 230 feet, but the drone crashes. Despite this, David claims that the experiment is successful and sends the video to MIT. A few days later, David received the response from MIT and called all loved ones to attend. He learns that he is accepted and is overjoyed. Unfortunately, it is associated with a scholarship of only $5,000, which is insufficient for the guy, who is fatherless and whose mother is looking for work. On his way home with friends, David notices a sign in front of the house. His mother wanted to sell the house to pay for David's education, but David disagreed with the decision to sell the house. So, David, along with his sister Christina and his friends Adam and Quinn, search through the belongings of his father, Ben, to find something that can get him a scholarship. During their search, they come across Ben's camera. Coincidentally, they find footage of David's father filming David's 7th birthday, just before he died. The battery on my super ultra phone barely lasts a full day when fully charged. This camera has been sitting in a basement for 10 damn years and simply starts up when turned on. I wish I had those batteries. We could solve the world energy crisis. Anyways, reviewing the footage, David sees for a few moments his reflection as an adult in a home mirror, about to go into the basement. David shows the video to Quinn and Adam, and they notice David in his current age, wearing the same clothes on his own 7th birthday, 10 years ago. In David's hand, the group notices keys with the ballerina. They all start pulling out the keys, and David discovers that he accidentally switched backpacks with a classmate, Jesse Pierce. After that, David went to get his backpack, meeting Jesse for the first time, even though they had been studying together for 4 years. By now, it was certain that it was David in the video, and now the guys wanted to find out how it happened. As they analyzed the video, they realized that David was going into the basement. In the basement, they find instructions and parts for a machine left behind by David's father, Ben, sort of like Legos for the brainiacs. They begin to read the notes to understand that it's a time machine. So they begin constructing the time machine. After buying all the necessary tools to turn on the time machine, David, along with his friends, set to work. After installing it, they then turn it on, and David notices that the machine creates electromagnetic energy. That's why while holding the light bulb in his hand, it turns on. The machine worked. David noticed that 2 instruments merged together. Now they just needed to perfect it. With the help of a graphics processor, they managed to get the Time Machine app on the smartphone. With a single click, they could choose what place and date in the past to teleport to. They had to be careful, because the machine consumed energy when activated, so they had to leave enough energy to return to the present. Otherwise, they would be stuck in the past. After upgrading the machine, they activated it one more time, and the instruments around it started to spin on themselves because of the electromagnetic energy. Quinn's left hand was acting bizarrely, after which the battery overheated and exploded. Soon after, David noticed the strangest thing. He had a blue stain on his shirt, the same one they had seen in the footage of his 7th birthday. They were very close, but they needed hydrogen. Without this chemical element, they could do nothing. The problem was that it could not be purchased on the street, so they decided to steal it. After sneaking into the school and stealing the hydrogen, they are ready to fire up the machine. They wanted to experiment with it, so they wanted to move a toy 60 seconds back, but the battery was too weak. What they needed was a nickel metal hydride battery, in English, rechargeable battery. Fortunately, David finds a car with this type of battery. It was Jesse's car. There was a party going on outside, and Jesse would be more than happy to park near David's house. In this way, they managed to take advantage of Jesse's car battery to turn on the time machine. The machine turned on, and the magnetic field activated. In the process, Jesse had entered the basement and saw everything. They connected the machine to the time travel device with the calculated risk that the machine might explode. Yes, explode. But instead, the time travel machine seems to start working. Jesse joins them and looks at their first test object, a toy car with a camera that is sent back in time. This sets off the fuse for the whole neighborhood. The toy car is found fused to the wall. When they play back the camera on the car, they see events from 2 hours earlier recorded on it. It seems that the time travel caused the camera to stay there and record 2 hours before sending it back in time. Since it was very high up on the wall, they didn't notice it. That sounds about right. This part makes sense. It shows them that time travel works. The next day, David was already designing a backpack for the machine so he could carry it. That same day, Quinn, the guy who helped assemble the time machine, failed the chemistry test. The most important thing was when the group found out whose keys were in David's hand in that video. The keys belonged to Jessie. This means that they have already traveled to the past with her. So, now she joins the group as well. Then, Jessie, who knows nothing about time travel or advanced science in general, suggests that the next obvious move is to test it on yourself. A toy went back in time and merged with the wall. But that doesn't seem to affect our 5 friends. They try it on themselves. David warns them not to stop breathing and to stay calm. After that, David started the machine, and all around it looked like a storm had started. Even Jessie's car was moving towards them. They woke up in the same place, but scattered around. Adam was in the garbage can. The good news is that the machine had worked. They went back 24 hours. Being teenagers, the first thing they do is go to Quinn's house, find Sleeping Quinn from that timeline, and draw a smiley on Sleeping Quinn's neck. They have a lot of fun doing that. Really, these guys can invent the time machine, and the first thing they do is put their existence in danger. As you'd expect, Sleeping Quinn wakes up and the two look at each other, glitching. The group takes Quinn away and leaves. As they run, a dog is following them, and David turns the time machine back on. So the dog reunites them with their original timeline. When they return, they see the missing dog posters because he spent the whole day with them and disappeared for a 24-hour period. No consequences of this though. Now that they are confident that they can travel through time, David establishes rules. The first rule they agree on is to never time travel alone. Yes, they decide that all 5 of them will always go back in time together. Always using the camera is another rule. After a few more idiotic and irrelevant rules, they start editing their past. Quinn wants to take the chemistry test again to get a good grade. Before doing so, they couldn't let Quinn from that timeline into the classroom. Quinn had to retake the test numerous times because the professor was always asking different questions. Repeating time travel at the same time magically removes and replaces past time travel and its effects. So we will just have to assume that in this type of time travel, the previous time travel is simply replaced by the next time travel. This explains how they can keep going back to the chemistry test to help Quinn pass, without running into their previous attempts. Then Christina gets revenge on one of the girls who threw a soda at her. What has been clearly established so far is that when they travel back in time, there are 2 instances of them. One from the original timeline, and the other the time traveler. That makes sense, but when they go back in time to that same point in time a second time, they replace their previous time traveler self. I hope I didn't burn your brain. After that, they try to win the lottery. They jot down a winning number and go back in time to buy the ticket. They manage to miss a number and win 1,800,000 instead of 300 million. In fact, look at their happy faces with the prize in hand. David pays for his studies and gives some of the money to his mother. Quinn buys himself a Maserati and other crap. They also buy other useful materials and tools to perfect the machine even more, to be able to travel back in time even more instead of just 3 weeks. After some time, David gathers the group to announce that the machine can now travel back in time for 3 months. The crew then travels back 3 months to the Lollapalooza festival they missed. The atmosphere and music are great. I have to be honest, I'm kind of envious. David gets backstage passes bought on eBay before traveling back in time. The group has a memorable time. After that, David and Jessie read some writing on the wall, "Before the world ends." David has a moment with Jessie, but blows it by not kissing her. In the evening, they return to the present. They had spent 9 hours at the festival, but in reality, only a second had passed. Everyone was happy, except David, who burned the moment with Jessie. In the present, some things have changed. Christina had friends she hadn't seen before, and David's mother got a job. The moment Jessie finally spoke to David, she told him to forget about that moment at the festival. After that, he breaks the main rule of traveling back in time without the band. He returns to Lollapalooza, and this time he kisses Jessie. Again, his second trip back in time takes the place of his first trip back in time. When he returns, Jessie is in a towel in his house. They are now seeing each other. Now David's mood was through the roof. However, they now realize that there was a plane crash that killed a lot of people. They also start to see news about a bunch of other accidents and calamities that they don't remember from their original timeline. They start to think that the reason all of this happened is because of their trip to Lollapalooza. David disagrees with them because he will lose Jessie if they cancel the Lollapalooza trip. Adam states that changing one thing in the past affected the course of other events. It all started when the captain of the basketball team had broken his leg, although it hadn't actually happened before they time traveled. The pilot of the plane was the dad of the team captain. Somehow, the time travel may have caused the basketball player to meet with the accident that caused his leg to break. This causes the team to not make it to the finals. Since many people do not participate in the finals, this gives rise to certain catastrophes, including the father of the basketball star piloting the plane instead of watching the finals and eventually causing the plane crash. David knew full well that it was their fault, but he didn't want to lose the moments he had with Jessie. After some thought, David tells Adam that he jumped alone and that this caused the chaos. What does David do next? He jumps to the night of the blackout. There, he runs and saves the team captain by pulling him away from the car that would have otherwise run him over. People start cheering and David comes back. He reads the news and finds that he has apparently worked things out. But everyone seems perfect, except Adam, who is now in critical condition in the hospital. They don't know what is actually causing it. It seems that this is another butterfly effect caused by saving the basketball player. Butterfly effect, the phenomenon whereby a minute localized change in a complex system can have large effects elsewhere. David has no idea how to undo the last one with Adam's fate. He tries to calculate the series of events and decides that he will return on Tuesday, presumably the day of the basketball game. While he is teleporting, Jessie intercepts him and joins David. David admits that he jumped on his own and even went back to Lollapalooza one more time to kiss Jessie. As Jessie starts to get angry, she also runs into the Jessie of that timeline and is erased from existence. At the house, David encounters Quinn, who tells him that Jessie is missing and now the police are looking for David. David realizes that the only solution is to go back 10 years and destroy the time machine. But he didn't have enough hydrogen and had to go to school again while running from the police. David breaks into the school and fills up on hydrogen and jumps up to his 7th birthday. Here, he ends up finding himself in the reflection mirror, captured by the video camera filming the birthday party. This is the same video camera that David and Christina find in the basement. In the basement, David meets his father, who realizes that it was David from the future. David explains to him why the time machine is a bad idea. After his father leaves, he collects all the blueprints, the time device, and burns them. This causes David to get out of that timeline. If David destroys the time machine in the past, it creates an alternate universe in which the group never finds the time device. This means they don't time travel, and as a result, David in the basement of the house on his 7th birthday disappears. Back in the future, the film returns to the scene where David and Christina find the old camera. As Christina finds the camera with the birthday party, David finds the camera that his alternate time-traveling self leaves behind as it flickers. David plays back the contents of the second camera, and we can hear conversations from the alternate timeline, the conversation where David and Christina find only one camera. The premise now is that the group has seen the entire footage on Christina's father's camera. They are now aware of the various inventions and travel through time. After that, David approaches Jessie to return her bag, and instead of mumbling, he starts saying Jessie's lines. After this, he tells her that they are going to change the world. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then discover the world where being a virgin gives you a chance to survive.